every king, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. Yeah, you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. You've got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MCU Rebound. This is an episode we're going to get through this one because we have to.
I'll admit I'm just gonna say this. Like I look at everything we've done, and honestly, this has been better than 4 of the movies we've already done.
Yes, this is by far and away to this point in the thing, not counting Ragnarok, the best Thor movie.
Oh yeah, and
I still say this is better than Thor 4. This is better than Thor 1.
Yes, I agree with you about it being better than Thor 1. It's not better than Thor 4, but again, that's a personal opinion. We each can like what we like.
Thor 4 is on my list of 5 worst MCU movies.
Oh, I'm looking at. I've literally been watching through the stuff, and I've been listing mine. I have Thor: Love and Thunder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spots, or 10 spots above Thor: The Dark World.
That's sacrilege.
Like Thor: The Dark World is in my bottom 5. Like Eternals beats it.
I mean, mine's not higher than the top 5, than the bottom 5, but it's not worse than Thor 4.
We'll get into Thor 4 when we get there. But I enjoyed Thor 4 what it was. I also went into that movie not expecting much. So
yeah. But we're here talking about Thor: The Dark World, and oh boy, does Thor: The Dark World have issues. Thor: The Dark World is another swing and a miss at trying to figure out how to present Thor. Because at this point, we hadn't figured out that Thor needs to be funny.
That's true.
At this point, everybody's continued to try to take swings that Thor is thematic. Thor is a god. And we forget that Thor was created in the 70s, and he's an LSD project, and he needs to be funny. And Chris Hemsworth is great as Thor in all incarnations. The two things that always come back to each other in the Thor movies is Loki's fantastic with Tom Hiddleston, and Thor is fantastic with Chris Hemsworth. Everything else is the problem in all these movies.
I agree.
And not each individual person, because most of the people do their roles fine.
Yeah.
But it seems to be the stories that let these movies down. Oh, so we have Jamie Alexander returning, we have Renee Russo returning, we have Anthony Hopkins returning, Zach Levi, Ray Stevenson, Kat Dennings, Tabdano Asano. Like, everybody from Thor comes back in Thor 2.
Well, okay, wait. Zach Levi is not returning. This is his first movie because he's replacing the dude from Once Upon a Time who played his character in the first movie.
Is he really replacing? Honestly, it felt like he was
not Josh Dallas. I can't remember his name now.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's so, I didn't even realize, honestly, until I started reading the IMDb, I didn't even realize he was in the movie.
No, I know this because again, I'm a big Zachary Levi fan.
He's great.
At this point, I think Chuck is just wrapping up, just wrapped up at this point. I was a big fan of him.
He played
Yeah, Fandral, yeah, because Josh Alice was the guy who
Yes.
played him in the first movie. Yeah,
All right. Josh Jones.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I like
He was
Josh
from
Jones.
Once Upon a Time. But yeah, because
He's great. In Once
he
Upon a
was filming that show, and that's why he couldn't come back for this movie. So
Yeah, it didn't matter if they had an Academy Award winning actor, which they did in that role. It still would have worked. So again, screenplay by Christopher Marcus and McFeely. Like Marcus and McFeely get credit for most of these screenplays. And you know what? Every writer has an issue. Alan Taylor, I'm sure he's done good work. This wasn't one.
like it's
It's
I'll-
fine.
okay. So
It's,
you put this movie up against some of like the DC movies. I will take this every day before watching some of those DC movies, man. Like
yes, but you have to understand though, this isn't a DC movie. This is on top of it's a Marvel movie, and this is in the height of Marvel turning out good movies, with the exception of Iron Man 3. The exception of Iron
no,
Man 3.
that point. Like I'm looking at my list after going through and like watching a lot of Phase 2 and Phase 3. Iron Man 2, not that great. Iron Man 3, not that great. Thor, not that great. Incredible Hulk, complete shit. Thor the Dark World. Like the thing is, this isn't even the height of Marvel's greatness. Marvel only gets better from here. That's
Well, no,
the
but that's what
thing.
I'm saying. Like we get the Avengers, then we have Iron Man 3, and then we
Yeah.
have Thor: The Dark World, and then everything just starts being a massive.
Mm-hmm.
This
I
is
agree.
where they should. The momentum was going towards them doing really good things, and this did not happen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's talk about, in my opinion, the biggest problem in this movie, the villain problem. I love Christopher Eccleston.
Oh, like, and again, I wasn't a
love-
big Doctor Who fan until a couple of years, maybe 3 years ago, and watching Eccleston on that show is utter magic. But
Yeah, he's great. He was a fantastic Doctor Who. He's not my favorite. He'll never be my favorite, but he has good
no,
episodes.
but
I
he was
love him.
great. But
He was
here,
great.
oh,
Let's put it this way. I so often forget who plays Malekith that I didn't realize it until I got to the credits that it was Eccleston. Because he never speaks English for the most part.
there's
It's
an
all in
odd
that
few
English
lines.
language, and he's got so much makeup on.
I think he's got an odd couple English lines in this movie, but he does it in such a way you don't know it's Eccleston either.
Yeah. I love the Dark Elves. I love all things Dark Elves. When I play D&D, I almost exclusively play Rogue Dark Elves. It's one of my favorite things to do. They are fantastic. They get to be little assholes. This villain is so poorly written that he's barely in the movie. Like, he's in essentially the final act. Like, yes, he has portions in the beginning, he has portions in the middle. But for the extent of this, his entire role in this movie is the third act.
Yeah, really, if you want to see him play a good bad guy, go watch Gone in 60 Seconds.
Absolutely.
Then you can see him
my
play a
go-to
great bad
Christopher
guy.
Eccleston movie, by the way.
Oh, so I love that movie. But yeah. Yeah.
But just, oh my God, this, there's so much wrong with Malekith in this movie. Not to mention that the Ether, which is an Infinity Stone, which they mention all of these other, so they call them singularities in this movie. They hadn't yet decided to call them Infinity Stones. They called it a singularity from the beginning of the existence. And they say that, hello, Astrid. and they make them think that, like most of them, took physical form inside of a stone. This one took the role of a liquid. And I'm just like, Why do you have to be so damn pedantic?
Yeah.
Like, it needed to be a stone.
Yeah, I found it really stupid, but it because while okay, don't also get me wrong, we already saw the Tesseract in Avengers,
We don't know what
and
it is, but that is the first Infinity
but
Stone.
again, it is Infinity Stone, but we don't know. In reality, we don't know it's a stone because it's literally a cube with a stone inside of it.
Yep.
So this being liquid, I don't get truly mad at because again, we're not into the Infinity Stone saga quite yet. We haven't started looking at Infinity Stones. Really, the first time you get Infinity Stones is
The
Ultron,
post-credit
right?
scene here. Honestly, it's the post-credit scene here. Because in the post-credit scene, they go to the Collector. Volstagg and Sif bring the ether to the Collector. And they go, it's not wise to have two Infinity Stones in the same place.
Oh yeah, because
The
doesn't he
first
have the
mention of
Power
Infinity
Stone?
Stones is literally the post-credit scene for this movie.
Because he has a Power Stone.
He
Or
doesn't have
something?
the Power Stone because remember they took it back.
What stone does he
Thor
have
takes it.
then? What other stone did he have?
No, Thor has the Tesseract from the Avengers.
Oh, he's being like on
So
Asgard.
they're
Okay.
splitting the two of them up.
Oh,
And
okay.
post-credit
Sorry.
scene
But,
for this movie,
but
yeah,
I was gonna say because doesn't
yeah.
I was gonna
Odin
say the
has the
Power
Tesseract.
Stone's in a little orb on some random planet
Yeah,
in Guardians. Yeah.
yeah. It's still on Morag at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, the ether is brought to the Collector in the post-credit scene here,
Mhm.
while the Tesseract remains in Odin's treasure.
Mhm.
My friend Jamie jumping in, who doesn't love Gone in 60 Seconds. I mean,
It's
it's
it it's
it's a great movie.
honestly my favorite Nick Cage movie. Like I love a lot of his other movies. Don't get me wrong, but
I
that
think
one's
Nick Cage
because
is
it's.
vastly underrated.
But which one?
I said I think Nick Cage is vastly underrated.
Oh,
People
100, that guy is
wait, shit.
amazing. Community had the best take on who Nick Cage is ever in that Nick Cage study episode. It's so good.
Yeah. But yeah, this movie just it suffers from doing too much.
Mm.
It brings back all the people we love, but not in the way we love them. It brings us. So we get Kat Dennings, who has her own intern now.
That's kind of funny. Come on.
That's a great scene, but it is what it is. We have Jane, who apparently was moping around, as Darcy says. You're in lady clothes. You took a shower. You left the house. So we get this idea that Thor's broken this poor girl, which is fine,
Yeah,
understandable.
and she's
I'd be
dating
broken too if I was in love with Chris Hemsworth and he
and
left.
she's on a date with the dude from Bridesmaids, right?
I could care
Oh,
less.
he's the dude from IT Crowd. He's also on IT Crowd, the British IT Crowd. That's a very good show.
And then we get to the dark world, and where we get to the world between worlds kind of thing, where it's the convergence is coming, and all of the 9 realms are kind of interconnected. Oh,
Yeah, this is
it
rough.
just the whole plot suffers from not really knowing what they really wanted to do.
Mm.
Loki is fantastic in this. Loki's brought back in front of Odin, and Odin's punishment is you're going to stay in the dungeons. We're going to keep you locked in the dungeon, and you're never going to see your mother again. Because Loki could care less if he sees Thor. Loki could care less if he sees Odin. But he loves Frigga. And it's such a great through point that it continues all the way to the Loki series about how much he loves Frigga.
Mm-hmm.
And how broken it makes him when he realizes that he's the one who kills Frigga. By sending them to the stairs on the left.
Yep.
Which inevitably... But then we have the shitty battle sequence in the jail where, the boar takes the fucking, super drug to explode and push the guy through the barrier, which lets the barrier come down, and then all hell breaks loose, and they have the first real good fight sequence of the movie. And it's fine, and it's good, but it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. It's just fine. Like, it's throughout the entire time, I'm doing something else while I'm watching this movie. And I like this movie. I think it's great. But
Like, in my opinion, like, and this is honest truth. To me, there's only one bad Marvel movie, and it was made by Paramount,
yeah,
and it's the Incredible Hulk. Everything else,
in the Eternals,
still, I put Eternals above this movie. I enjoy that movie for a weird point. I have a lot. It is literally one spot above this movie. Do not worry. That movie gives me anger issues, but I still love that we got that story. But to that point, I don't. Again, all the Marvel movies to me are enjoyable in some way, some way, and even the bad ones are still enjoyable to me, like this.
And I was just to say, I agree entirely about this. There's a lot to enjoy about this, but again, it's mostly moments as opposed to the movie. Eric Selvig being arrested for running around naked, trying to plant the things to save us from the convergence, and being in the mental asylum, and doing the whole thing with the convergence and explaining the whole thing on Earth, while Thor's just explained this earlier in the movie to Jane on Asgard, and then having Stan Lee go, "Can I have my shoe back?" Which they wouldn't even have because the shoes have laces in them. And the people in this mental asylum wouldn't have access to shoes with laces.
Yeah. Again, this movie is so convoluted in how it explains things because it does it again multiple times, and again, it's almost filler in some places.
I think this is absolutely filler. This entire movie is essentially, to me, filler.
Yeah, so like she gets it, like she goes through the portal, touches the stone, and gets the aether, right?
Yeah, it goes inside her.
Yeah, and then she comes out into actually a pretty funny scene of everything's raining, yet she has this protective bubble around her of not getting. I thought that was humorous.
But again, in a way, that's a moment.
I know. I'm just saying, but I gotta point out the stuff that I do like in this movie because we're going to shit on so much of the rest of it. I have to point out the things I do like.
But again, it comes back to with the exception of one scene, the only enjoyment I ever get out of this movie is the humor. Everything that's meant to be funny is funny, and it's the best parts of the movie. And then there's one scene. One fantastic scene, which is the Frigga Viking funeral, which is moving and heartfelt. And
I enjoy her point when when Loki's doing his magic and he has Frigga talking to him. That is a great scene.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of laughs and play in that. Like it's not the most, like I said, it's again, and that's again, it's a Loki scene. Loki is the little Loki has to do in this movie. He is so good. Being stuck essentially in a box, like a mime being stuck in a box, and there are such great things when they come back down to see him, and Thor's like, "All right, we need you to get us off Asgard." And Loki's there, and he's looking like Loki looks, and Thor's like, "No, I want the real you," and he lets down the illusion of like the nice clean Loki and the nice clean room, and the room is a disaster, and he's broken everything, and the wall has like pieces of wood like scraped across it, and and he's just so beaten down and just in his own personal hell, and he's like, do you enjoy seeing me like this, brother? And he's like, no, I don't enjoy seeing you like this, Loki. I want you to be a good person. I want you to be happy, and I want good things for you. But you keep fucking up. And again, that's what makes this movie so great. It's the connection between Thor and Loki in the moments of just pure joy whenever they make a joke. because every joke in this movie lands.
It's true.
It's why Ragnarok is so good, because he leans into the comedy.
Yeah.
And then that's why Thor 4 is so bad, because he leans too much into the comedy at the expense of story.
Agree to disagree, but okay.
Like, I don't even really want to go through this point by point, because there's just so much convoluted bullshit to be a part of it.
Yeah. Like let's just get to the big crescendo of it all, because we've talked most stuff. They get out of Asgard. Loki fakes cutting off Thor's hand, which is inevitably
Right.
you think
The third
like,
act in this movie is perfection.
dude, when he villain turns and cuts Thor's hand off, I did not expect it, because I'm thinking this guy's gonna redeem himself, and he doesn't. I'm like, you piece of shit. And then it's revealed it's all an illusion, but then Loki ends up dying, and then just that spot right there is a perfect point to this movie. And watching Thor be serious and mourning his brother, and like having this like being broken by the death of his brother is phenomenal.
And it's going to be something that we're going to be talking about in a few months when we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, because there's already CinemaCon footage of Thor in Deadpool doing this exact scene.
Thorpool!
Which I'm very excited to see how this goes with Hemsworth and Deadpool.
I hope it's Matt. It's actually Matt Damon and somebody else doing the scene.
Oh my god, that would be fantastic. Oh. But like I said, this movie, the third act is really good. They have
Bobby!
Oh, Bobby! Thank you for joining us.
We're only 23 minutes in, and we're already at the third act of this fucking terrible movie.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think this is better than most people think it is. But I don't think it's a good movie. I just think it's higher on my list than most people.
It's not very. It's higher than, like, I put it, like, personally, I put it above Thor. I put it above the 2 and 3 Iron Man, and I put it above Hulk. But that's it.
Yeah. Bobby says it's one of the worst, if not the worst, in the MCU. See, me and Andrew have already talked a little bit about this, but we'll say it again. Although I feel Love and Thunder annoyed me more.
Yeah, but I'll say this: I give Love and Thunder a bigger pass, because I think it's a more fun movie. There's more fun to it and more exciting stuff that happens in that movie. Where this one is just, I'm sorry, like, Gore is not good, but Malekith is just so much worse. There's nothing.
I think if you add 15 minutes to Love and Thunder and focus on Gore the God Butcher a little bit.
100%.
If you take 15 more minutes and just focus on Gore and have him slaying gods, I think that movie is tremendously better. And that's the problem that I have with that movie. And again, we'll talk about it then. But I think the fact that you call him Gore the God Butcher and we not see him butcher gods makes it a bad movie. Whereas this movie needs a lot of work to make it good.
And even the end game redux that gives it a little more importance doesn't really do anything to make me want to see this movie anymore.
Yeah, and I think Endgame does a really good job of bringing an emotional element to it, with going back and getting the hammer, getting some closure on Thor and his mother's death, which is something we hadn't gotten because this movie focuses on the change between Loki and his mother in this movie. And I think that's really good. Bobby says that would have been interesting, and said they wanted to make. So we're going to start one more thing on Thor 4, and then we'll move on from Thor 4 because it's not what we're talking about tonight. I think the problem was Thor Ragnarok was such a great success, and it deserves all the praise that it gets because it leans into the funny, which makes Thor the best thing that Thor can possibly be.
And then Thor's comedy in Infinity War and Endgame were great.
Yeah.
But
And then they lean too much. I think they lean a little too much when we get to Thor 4.
Oh yeah.
And I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's what brings that movie down. Yeah.
100%.
Ragnarok is a top 10 Marvel movie. I don't know if it's top 5, but it's absolutely top 10. It bounces around my top 5. So then we get the battle amongst the different worlds between Malekith, Thor, Jane, Eric. They're bouncing between New York. I believe it was what? New York, Svartalheim, London, and somewhere. And is Svartalheim the middle location, like the dark world that they go to, or is, because I think that's the home of the elves, if I believe, is Svartalheim, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember where they're going to, but
as you can tell, I'm not up on my Thor lore.
The place where Loki died. The place where Loki died. Yeah.
I love the bouncing around. I think it makes that third act a little bit more fun. It gives it a little bit more vibrancy. But again, there's really nothing to it. There's no emotional depth to it. There's no real spark in it. It's just be the hero, save the day. And they are, and they do.
And again, the entirety of it is all based around them getting those sticks in the ground.
Yep.
To create the disruption of the convergence. And it's just Thor lore. Yeah, Thor lore.
So they reunite, they win, they do it. Thor
they
goes
stab him. They stab him with his own ship, right? Essentially, or his ship falls on him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's crushed
which is such a stupid.
Yep. It's again, everything with Malekith is just pretty much awful in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for this not being the greatest episode, but unfortunately, Thor 2 is an hour and a half of mostly nothing.
I might actually have to move this down my list. I think I enjoyed Thor more than this.
Maybe. It's hard to tell. I'm going to make, for the next episode, I'm going to have graphics with our lists on it, because I have yet to make the graphic. But I'm going to make the graphic with our lists on it for the next episode. Bobby, this episode is great because you guys are far more entertaining than the movie itself. Yes, but the views are not going to be there, and the views are one of the reasons why we do this, especially on the YouTube side. And if you're watching on the YouTube side, please go ahead and give us a like, give us a subscribe, and if you're watching on the repeat, on the video on demand, go ahead and leave us a comment. Tell us what you thought about Thor 2. Leave those comments in the chat so that we can go ahead and get back to those. But the movie ends. Thor goes back to Asgard, where he declines Odin's offer to take the throne. Only it's not Odin. As Thor walks away, it's revealed to us to be Loki.
Which in Ragnarok, it's just the turn of him. I love it so much.
Yep.
And like with knowing what's coming in Ragnarok, I think about this scene more of does Thor realize it's him and just says fuck it and I'm walking away? Because again, when he rolls back, he knows, right? When he comes back in Ragnarok.
No, he doesn't realize it's him until he's back and he sees Odin, as he says, in his bathrobe, eating grapes while the entire 9 realms go to chaos. That was my best Chris Hemsworth, because I can't nearly get my voice manly enough to be Chris Hemsworth. Like we said, in the mixed credit scene, Volstagg and Sif go off to the Collector, where they entrust the ether to his care, and they look, and he looks and goes, "You want to give me this?" And he's like, "Well, it's unwise to keep 2 Infinity Stones in the same location."
Yeah.
And then Thor and Jane Foster reunite on Earth. Although this is not Natalie Portman. This is Chris Hemsworth's wife.
Yeah. Fuck Natalie Portman. Like, fuck her.
Yeah. This is the point where, so the most interesting thing that happened in this movie didn't happen in the movie. It happened behind the scenes. Patty, what was it?
Patty Jenkins.
Patty Jenkins was supposed to direct Thor 2.
And that was the reason
that she
Portman
signed on for the
because
second
Portman
movie.
only signed on for one movie originally.
Yep.
She only signed on for the first Thor. She didn't do a multi-picture deal because again, unlike a lot of the people who made their name through Marvel, she was already famous. She didn't have to, she took the movie on a one-picture deal, or most other people were signed to 3 to 5 picture deals, right? So
she signed on to work with Patty Jenkins to be part of this movie, and then there were some backroom shenanigans over at Marvel, and I don't remember who it is exactly. Got rid of Patty Jenkins and brought on somebody else.
Who directed this?
That would be
Alan Taylor.
Alan Taylor, yeah.
Alan Taylor. Okay, I do not know.
Best known for his work on The Sopranos, Sex and the City, Mad Men, Game of Thrones.
Great stuff.
Yeah, but all television.
Oh, dude, he did. He would have go on to make Terminator Genesis.
Yeah, he did that too.
But he did Many Saints and Newarks, which is that Sopranos movie, which was really good. So we all make mistakes, eh?
I do. We all do make mistakes, and I want to just show off my friend's tattoo. My friend has a lovely.
That's more comics, though. That's a comics reference, in my opinion. It's not nothing to do with the movie.
Thor.
Yeah.
But yes,
if I was to get a comic book tattoo, I would go with Frog. I think if I was going to go Marvel, I'd probably go Frog Thor. Frog Thor. It has to be Frog Thor. It's just a dope, cool looking character.
I can't wait till we talk about Loki season 1 when we get to talk about Throg, because Throg is great. All right, Andre, we're now at the end. Unfortunately, a half an hour in. We're at the end of our show. Some of these shows go 2 hours. I promise you, in 2 weeks, we're going to have an hour and a half, maybe 2, when we have our special guest, Lauren Goodnight, joining us as we talk Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I'm going to give you a hint. This is taking my number 1 place as soon as it happens.
This is number 1 for me until we get to the end of until phase 4. This is number 1 for me. There's nothing better than I appreciate. There's nothing better in phase 2. There is nothing better in phase 3. There's only one thing in phase 4 that beats Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Because in phase 3 we have both Infinity War and Endgame.
Again, I still think Captain America and the Winter Soldier is a better movie. Because it's such a perfect movie. But we'll talk about that next week.
Yes, because when we're talking about the bromance between the Winter Soldier and Steve Rogers, we do need to bring on a woman of substance in Lauren Goodnight, who's going to give us all of the bisexual vibes for that movie needs to have. But Andre, we had the world premiere of this movie on October 22nd in London. We then had this movie released in the American theaters on November 8th, 2013, 11 plus years ago. What did it take home during its opening weekend? I'm sorry, no. I don't have that. Go ahead and give me the total. North America and the world.
Like worldwide.
So domestic total and then worldwide total.
This is Marvel ramping up, but it's not as big as Avengers. It's not quite as big as Iron Man 3. $710 million.
For the worldwide total?
For the worldwide. And for, I'll guess, a domestic of probably 240 million?
You're overestimating both.
I figured this was a $700 million movie.
$206 million.
That's not good. But again, back then, still that's very good. Don't get me wrong. Even today, that's a very good number.
Yeah. Especially this year.
Wow.
For a worldwide total of $644 million.
That's lower
under
than
$650.
I thought this would be like a $700 million movie in the 700 million mark. So I went 710 to kind of be under, I thought, but I guess I'm wrong here.
To talk about some of the positives from this movie when it comes to numbers. Thor Dark World made an estimated $7.1 million on just the midnight and late night showings of this movie on Thursday.
It's pretty good.
On the entirety of the Thursday into the Friday, it topped the box office with just under $32 million on just the Thursday night into the Friday day. It secured the top spot with an $85.7 million box office 3-day opening. And it held it for 2 weeks until being overtaken by The Hunger Games: Catching Fire. But Andre, we can't get out of here without talking about Rotten Tomatoes. All right, Andre. Rotten Tomatoes critic score out of 290 reviews.
It can't be. I don't think it's a shit rating, but it's not. It can't be good, especially coming off of Avengers, and then Iron. But Iron Man was higher than I thought. Oh, 64%.
Almost got there. Oh, Bobby Munson. Bobby Munson is playing the cheating game, I think. 67% is correct. The critics gave it 67% out of 290 reviews. Bobby claims he's not cheating. That's fine. I know. I just like to say it, Bobby, when you get it right. Yeah, I read Rotten Tomatoes regularly. Oh, that's a sad life, reading Rotten Tomatoes regularly. But Andre, did the people like it more or less than the critics? 250,000 plus ratings for Thor: The Dark World.
I don't know, because I don't again. But back when Thor: Dark World came out, I liked it. You know what I mean? Like I in hindsight, it's one of the worst movies, but rewatching it, I was like, oh, I have to watch this again because it's not a story I enjoy out of the entirety of the Marvel Universe now. Back then it was pop. It was good as pop. 70%.
You're still in the low end. 75.
It's not bad. That's actually really good.
It's higher. As Bobby says, the audience score is higher. Indeed, it was. It almost often is. And you know what? It's better than Atlas. Atlas is sitting there at 19%.
What the
heck is the Atlas? New Netflix movie. I posted about this in the Discord.
Oh, that's the freaking J-Lo driving a mech movie, right?
Yeah, we have our own very own Atlas is Jennifer Lopez and Simu Liu, who obviously from Barbie, from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. 19% on the tomato meter out of 79 reviews for the critics. And the audience don't like it much more. Audience score out of 500 plus reviews, 49%.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see I don't want to know if I want to see J-Lo Rim or Pacific J-Lo, whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It's not my. I have no. Like, I just got back on Netflix recently, and I got the ad tier, and I see that pop up, and I'm like, no, don't want to watch that. No desire to watch that.
Bobby, I couldn't even bring myself to do the review for it. Bobby has been doing some killer reviews of, I believe Garfield was in there, Fall Guy was in there.
I want to see Fall Guy.
I
haven't gotten around to you.
I will around to seeing it. Speaking of things that we haven't seen that we've been trashing, I want to see if you think the numbers have come up or down on this one. Madam Web, now that it's on Netflix, 250 reviews from the critics, Andre. What's the score?
Like 20%? Like
11.
Oh wow, I guess I was generous. Oh wow. What? Okay. Audience score. I'm gonna think.
1,000 plus reviews for the audience score
I'm gonna.
on Madam Web.
I still have not seen this movie. I'm going to give it a 42.
57.
That's higher than I thought it was going to be.
It's only that high because of the fact that it's on Netflix. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that
The number would not be that high if it wasn't available on Netflix.
I do want to see it just to say I've seen everything in from those worlds. Like I watched Morbius and I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah.
But everything I hear about this movie is going to be just shit.
While we have the people here and we're doing Marvel talk, I want to go ahead and talk to you about a couple rapid fire points.
Sure.
What do you think about the rumors of Sydney Sweeney taking the role of Felicia in the new Spider-Man 4?
Give it to me. I'm down. I like Sydney Sweeney. She saw it. Let's go.
I think she epitomizes in my mind what Black Cat is all about. I think that she is exactly the kind of person that can do Black Cat properly.
Yeah, it can, and this isn't to sound gross and stuff like that. Old white man. Um, Black Cat is all about the sex appeal. That's what her character is, and Sydney Sweeney has it. So Marvel's smart to do it.
She is the temptress for Peter Parker. She is the one to tempt him away from MJ. That is her entire role. She is a criminal, and she is what she is. The Black Cat is a very intriguing and very interesting written role in a time period where it was allowed to be the way it was.
And the other question is, do we get a Gwen Stacy eventually? That's the other question.
I would imagine we do. And like I said, we're in the multiverse saga, so there's entirely a chance that we're going to start mixing these worlds coming out of Secret Wars. Also, Kevin Feige is continuing to attempt to do the best Blade he can do, and he is on his third draft of the script with a brand new writer again. The movie is supposed to start filming later this year to come out next year. And they're rewriting the script again.
I thought they removed that to like 2026.
No, it is still supposed to come out. According to a lot of things I've heard, it's supposed to still be coming out next year. Really? Last I heard, it was still in 2025 slate.
Dude, I'm sorry. Like, that movie is just so far past being even thought to be good.
Like, Mahershala Ali, this poor bastard, he signed on for this thing in phase 2, and it's still not made. It's Ant-Man levels of fucked.
Yeah, November 7th, 2025. Really?
That is its current release date is still set for later on next year.
Like, I thought Mahershala was great as Cottonmouth. He was so good.
I think he'll be a great Blade. I really do.
I just don't feel like this movie's going to succeed. You already have enough against you with these last bunch of phases. This last phase was phase 4 being very weak, and phase 5, only out of the 3 movies that come out, only one of them being strong. Do you really want to risk that? Like, I don't know.
And then last but not least, we're heading into Deadpool and Wolverine. What is your excitement level? Have you secured your opening weekend tickets?
Yeah, I got tickets for the Friday, then realized it's the same day as an event I'm going to, so I got tickets for the Thursday night.
Nice. I don't have to worry about spoiling it for you then.
No, we talked about this. Yeah.
And I also can confirm we have 2 confirmed special guests for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Mark Talks Wrestling is going to be joining us.
Yay!
And for those of you in the wrestling Twitter sphere, Seahawk is going to be joining us. Cameron, I forget what his, I know it's Cam something. I forget what his actual last name is. I know him as Seahawk. I read him on Twitter as Seahawk. He has some incredibly great takes. He writes for, I believe, The Ringer. But he's fantastic. He's going to give us an interesting look at this. It was pointed out to me by a friend, Asher Bizarro, that him, Cassidy Haynes, and Sean Ross Sapp were all talking about how they wanted to cover Deadpool. And anybody who wanted them to cover it for them to reach out to them. And I was like, well, Asher, can you reach out to him and see if he wants to review it with us?
Yeah, 100%.
So, we will be having him join us for that. That's going to be very much fun. And again, like I said, not next week, but in 2 weeks, on the 12th, we're going to be joined by Miss Lauren Goodnight. Again, it will be slightly later, a couple minutes after Dynamite, because she is an AEW fan. Well, me and Andre really aren't. So
I am. I just choose to watch the show not live because it just makes my life easier.
But Miss Goodnight will definitely be joining us. So we'll be starting probably about 10 past the hour on the 12th. We're going to go ahead and we're going to deep dive into Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which will be a much better show for us, much better show for you, the viewer, because it's a great movie. It really is a great movie.
Oh, 100%. I'm very much excited. When is Deadpool and Wolverine coming out?
July 26th.
Oh, so we got another 2 months before we see that. Before that, we're even talking about when we're going to do that review. Jesus. Yeah. All right.
Trust me, we're getting on that bandwagon real early.
That's good.
Andre,
we usually have Saturdays open, so.
Yeah, that may be a Saturday, depending on if everybody's seen it already. That might be a Saturday show as opposed to a Sunday.
I gotta work in the mornings, but I can do afternoon, evenings most of the time.
Where can the good people find you, and what do you have coming up this week?
Ooh, lots this week. We just dropped Chop Talk. You can find me on You can find me on the X at That Canada Guy, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at That Canada Dude. You can find me on my YouTube page, youtube.com/@Andre Melbo Wrestling Talk. We had a Chop Talk come out this past Monday, Tuesday, where we talked about the most recent RCW event we went to. We had our Best of Super Juniors May 21st to 22nd show come out today.
Watched that earlier today. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we're not probably going to have any other content outside of Japanese Wrestling Update this Friday right here on OLE. Just for timing and other stuff, we don't really have a chance to record anything because we have to, and we'll be recording Japanese Wrestling Update tomorrow evening as we're going to be at Love Pro Wrestling on Friday, and on Saturday we're going. It's Melball Day. It's the anniversary of Melball entering this world, and we'll be going to RCW that night. So we're going to have 2 Chop Talks coming out next week, along with more Best of Super Juniors coverage, some Mari Gold coverage. We're hoping to get back into some Stardom coverage. It's just that's the one that's kind of gotten kicked to the side due to this Best of Super Juniors tournament. We're going to be coming back with a bunch of new content. We have a couple shows this week. We'll have a bunch more content come out next week. So stay tuned to the YouTube for that.
And of course, if you want to find them in the audio sphere, you can go ahead and SaturdayNightsMainEvent.com or patreon.com/SNME Radio. And if you go to the Patreon and do the $5 tier at SNME Radio, you're not only going to get the wonderful Andre and Melball Wrestling Talk, but there's a lot of great content there from a lot of great people, Boris Aguilar, among others, who do some fantastic work up there. I remember there was a Don Callis interview. I know there's been others that you guys have up there on those. So I think there was an Eric Bischoff interview, if I remember correctly.
Donnie has, I don't know, one of the guys, I think it might be Donnie, has an interview coming out this week. I think the full interview comes out in the next couple of days with Eric Bischoff talking just his history and talking about the new end of professional wrestling too. So
yeah, I was gonna say I remember seeing the teases for the Eric Bischoff interview over the last week or so. So yeah, definitely go ahead and check that out. They do some incredible work there. As for me, you can always find me every Tuesday with the wonderful natural Asher Bizarro. We talk all things NXT. Last night was a big one. We had 2 debuts, a debut and a return, kind of, sort of. When the forbidden door was opened, or what does Jordan call it? The prorated portal. I forget what she has. She has a nice little T-shirt about a portal of some kind. Jordan Grace has come back to NXT. Well, come back to WWE since her Rumble appearance to go on and challenge for the NXT Women's Championship against Roxanne Perez at NXT Battleground. All ego Ethan Page, great Canadian that he is, attacked Trick Williams on NXT, so obviously he's a heel. But
no, he's a good Canadian boy. When Canadians attack people, you know they're doing it out of because it's the right thing. So he's obviously the good guy.
No, there hasn't been a good Canadian since. It's been a long time since there's been a good Canadian in wrestling. The Hearts are all bad guys. Edge and Christian are bad guys. Chris Jericho's the worst.
Okay,
maybe Kenny Omega.
No, screw you. Chris Jericho is one of yours. He was born in your country. He is one of yours.
No. Manitoba, Canada. Thank you very much.
No. He was born in New York when his father was playing for the Rangers. He happened to grow up. He happened to grow up in Winnipeg, but he is a Canadian. American. He is a Canadian. American born, baby.
No, he is a Canadian. He is a Canadian. No, don't think Andre. No, bad Canadian. Also, make sure that you catch us for a special this Monday night. This upcoming Monday, we are going to have me, Asher Pizarro, Jose Gonzalez, and hopefully a surprise guest joining us to go ahead and fantasy book TNA versus WWE. We are going to be doing Worlds Collide.
I like Bobby's answer. He's as Canadian as Lesnar. He happens to live here, but
no. Lesnar is an American.
Just like Chris Jericho. Just like Chris Jericho.
No.
Jericho is American.
Oh, she thanks you for the post.
Yeah.
But that's going to be it for us. You can also find me on the Twitter at edfries12584 and Twitch at twitch.tv/edfries2002. That's going to do it for us this week. We did manage to squeeze an hour out of this. Squeezed every last bit we could out of it, but we did get there eventually.
A lot of filler.
Like this movie, lots of filler.
Yeah.
However, there will be no filler next week. We'll be strapped for time in 2 weeks when we go ahead and talk about Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Cap 2 is going to be a good time. Until then, see you later. Goodbye.